Welcome to another episode of Riding and Wrenching, the biggest little YouTube channel on the entire interwebs. I am your host, Q the Rider, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you how I saved almost $7,000 doing my own oil changes on my Harley Davidson Road Glide Ultra. This is a 2018 model, and it has over 111,000 miles. During the course of that 111,000 miles, I have done 23 oil changes on this motorcycle. I do my oil changes every 5,000 miles, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, all the way up to 110 and beyond. So to date, we're up to 23 oil changes. Now, dealers across the country charge somewhere between $300 and $500 from an oil change, and I believe some of them charge even more. But by doing your own oil change, I've been saving, on average, about $300 per oil change. So 23 oil changes times $300 of savings per oil change is almost $7,000. It's $6,900 to be exact. Now, out of fairness to the dealerships, their oil changes tend to include more than just an oil change. They do a number of inspections on your bike, and a lot of these are things that you can also do yourself. So if you buy the Harley Davidson service manual, all the instructions are right there. In today's video, I'm going to share with you all the tools that you need to do the oil change, and we'll talk about some of my lessons learned from all of these oil changes that I've done. All right, let's jump into it. First thing, most important, is the motor oil. The frequency of your oil change is far more important than the brand. Don't get hung up on the brand of motor oil. Personally, I prefer Mobil 1. I prefer it because it's easy to get. You can buy this stuff anywhere. This is a very high quality oil and it is cheap. So you can get Mobil 1 at Walmart for a little over $11 a quart. And you're going to need 7 quarts of oil to do an oil change. You can also get it at AutoZone. You can order it from Amazon. But Walmart's the cheapest, and that's normally where I get mine. Next thing you're going to need is an oil filter. Now, I prefer the Harley Davidson filters, primarily because I think the Harley Davidson filter, while it may not be the best, this is what Harley Davidson uses, and they are responsible for the warranty on your bikes. So after opening a bunch of these oil filters from different brands, again, it's not the best quality filter just looking at the construction inside of it, but again, I believe it's adequate. And I'm going to use what Harley Davidson uses. Some of the aftermarket filters you get are just absolute junk. Now, one thing to do when you're purchasing your filter, before you leave the dealership, make sure you inspect it, because during the manufacturing of a filter, they crimp it along this crease here. And you want to make sure that there's no manufacturing defects, because I once bought a filter that had a really small defect along this crease, and it shot oil all over my bike and all over the floor of my garage. It was awful. So just inspect your filters. Other thing that you're going to need is O-rings. Always replace your O-rings. You can either buy the kit from Harley Davidson, or you can buy a bunch of them from Amazon. That's what I normally do. I'll provide links to anything that I talk about today in the description of this video. To remove your oil filter, because I use the Harley Davidson filters, buy a Harley Davidson oil filter wrench. Nothing else works. I've tried a few different ones, and I just can't get one to fit right. The Harley Davidson one fits well, and it's got this nice little hole here that helps with draining oil out of the filter. Now, you're also going to want this funnel that you can buy from Harley Davidson, or you can get one from Amazon. And it's cut out like this on purpose, and that allows it to slide underneath the filter, and it helps drain the oil from the filter and the motor. Well, any oil that's falling out of the motor once you take the filter off. This helps to catch that oil and pull it away from or keep it from dropping all over the floor. Also, to help remove the filter and drain oil from it, a hammer. And something to poke a hole in the back of the filter. And what that does, again, that just helps drain that oil, because you're going to have maybe a little bit more than a half a cup of oil inside of your filter, and that's a lot when it lands all over the garage floor. So I try to drain as much of that oil as possible to make it easy, or to make the job cleaner, I guess. All right, now the next thing we'll talk about is a derby cover. You're going to use a T27 Torx bit. That's the star bit. Get some type of T27 wrench, and that will allow you to remove those 5 5 bolts that are in there. When you're reinstalling the derby cover, you do not need to put a lot of pressure on it. The owner's manual, I believe, calls for 11 inch-pounds of torque. That's not a lot. It's not a lot of pressure. You can really just do it by hand. You just don't want to put any force on it. It's just not necessary. Now, to remove your 3 drain plugs for the primary, the engine and transmission, 5/8 socket, plus a wrench. You may or may not want to use some extensions for that, just depending on your personal preference. Now, refilling the oil, you'll need a couple of other funnels. I use this one for the engine and transmission, and this is the one that you'll need for the primary. Now, you can buy this either from Amazon or from Harley Davidson, and these work great. They're not necessary, but it makes it a little bit easier. Once you remove the drain plugs, you're going to have to replace the O-rings, and I use this little device here to help pull the O-rings off, but you could really use a small screwdriver or something else, but I just happen to have this little pick, and that's what I use for removing my O-rings. These guys. This is just a, what do you call it, Allen wrench, and you'll need an Allen wrench to remove the transmission the transmission dipstick. Sometimes I find I can't get my oil or motor oil dipstick out, and so a pair of pliers sometimes help just to loosen it up. And I keep a terry cloth just for cleaning the drain plugs once you remove them, and that's everything you need, and that will save you $300. It's the best deal that you can make on maintaining your own bike. The other thing that I find is, personally, I think I do a pretty good job doing my own oil changes. I also do a couple of things during my oil changes that I know the dealerships aren't going to do, or most of them anyway. I clean underneath my bike. I use Simple Green, just spray everything, let it soak for a couple of minutes, hose it down, wipe everything down, and the underside of my bike is spotless, because that's the way I want it. My opinion is, if I have an issue with oil leaks, by keeping the undercarriage of my bike clean, I will know when something's going wrong underneath there, because again, the underside of my bike is spotless until I start riding. So how long does an oil change take? Once you're comfortable with it, it shouldn't take you more than about 45 minutes, maybe an hour if you include all of the cleanup time. So you save $300 over the course of an hour. Unless you make $300 an hour in your professional life, do your own oil changes. You can save a lot of money. So there you have it. I will post a link to my oil change videos. There are several different methods you can use for changing your oil. Well, not methods, but there's several different ways you can do it. You can do it on a jiffy stand. You can use some motorcycle jacks will allow you to do it. If you have Harbor Freight jack, you can drain the engine and transmission oil using the jack, but the primary, you're going to have to drain it with the bike on the jiffy stand. If you happen to have a J&S jack, you can do everything with the bike lifted in the air. It's a little bit easier. Something else you might want to invest in is one of these foam pads. I love this thing. I use it all over my house, and you just lay it on the ground, and this saves my knees. That's something else to think about. And you'll also need a drain pan. Ow, that hurt. There's oil in there. Now, something else that you're going to have to do is get rid of your oil at the end. If you buy your oil from AutoZone, you can dump your oil at AutoZone. I think any place that sells oil is supposed to accept used oil. I typically go to AutoZone with my oil, even though I said I buy my oil from Walmart. I don't buy all of it from Walmart. I also buy stuff from AutoZone as well. But in any event, I take my used oil down to AutoZone, and they let you dump your drain pan, and it makes it easy to get rid of the oil. So hopefully that gave you some inspiration to go out and start doing your own oil changes. You should also do other maintenance on your bike, inspecting your tires while it's lifted in the air. Something else I tend to do at oil change intervals is I clean my filter and re-oil it. I would also encourage you to check your battery terminals, because they will shake loose, and it's going to cause you problems over the long run. So just tighten up those battery terminals anytime you're doing basic maintenance on your bike. Also consider learning how to check the condition of your brake fluid, because that also makes a big difference. Once your brake fluid is bad, you need to have it flushed. Now, that's a job that I tend to allow the dealership to do, because I don't have any way of cycling the ABS module on the bike, and because there's brake fluid trapped inside of that. So that's something else to consider. Just go to the dealership and let them do it. This is Q. I'm riding, I'm wrenching, and I am out. Damn it.
All right, everybody. Once again, welcome to the channel. Let's bring in our esteemed panel. Here we've got Robert Simmons. We've got Q the rider. Look at, oh, they're throwing up gang signs today. All right. So.
Wait, hold on. Stop right there. As usual, I have to ask the question.
No.
I have to ask. I got to put it on the record. It's got to be on the record. Q, have you consumed any intoxicants tonight?
You know, I wouldn't mind having one, but no. No, I take that back. I did have one.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
How many hours ago and how many ounces? And what was it?
It was a Jack Daniels, which is the official drink of the state of Tennessee. How many ounces? I don't know. Just pour and stop. I don't know. How much is that?
So now what we need you to do is stand up, all right? You're going to keep your hands at your sides.
We're not doing that. No. I will not be harassed again.
Plus, if he stands up, it's a crotch shot. Nobody wants that.
I can turn around, you know.
That's worse. I think that's worse.